we just saw some of the craziest last games of a Champions League in a very long time since last Champions League rounds where it was actually somewhat entertaining but not as crazy as this one, in my opinion as well. I do have a few questions on this, but my first one is, why is Tottenham have the same logo as Bayern? That's a little bit crazy. That's why I was like, all right, that's a little bit on the weird side, but of course maybe the site I was using is not that updated, or it was a little bit on the slow side, but we just have to wait and see, figure that out. Same thing goes for Atletico Madrid, which have a Liverpool badge, but we still know the teams and everything like that. Wild game. Very big teams got knocked out. Mainly, of course, Napoli. Surprising that they got knocked out. They didn't make it to the round 16. I thought they would have made it to the playoffs at least. But what can you do when João Pedro scores 2 great goals from outside the box? What can you do? You just got to say, damn, good shots. Those were good shots, of course. Unsavable as well, but Napoli, surprisingly, the winners of Serie A last season, made it out. Don't make it out of the round. Make it out of the Champions League, the first group stages. Don't even make it to the round 16 or the knockouts. That's surprising. Also, how Chelsea make it with a new head coach. They fired their head coach resigned, or resigned or got fired, got a new one, and they still do good. Same as last season. PSG have to go through the playoffs again. I thought they would have made it to the round of 8, but this time the top 8 without having to go through the playoffs again. But again, lots of injuries happen and they make it out again. Will they do well this time? Let's see if they will be able to do the exact same thing they last season, go through everything, every game as well, and see how well they'll do. Also, how Newcastle did from what they did well without Isak, their big one, they did well. They at least made it to what I thought they would be struggling, but they made it into the top 16, which is very good for them, in my opinion. They did well. With all that being said, here are some big games that I want to talk about because a lot happened and a lot of change did happen as a part of these games. Inter versus Bayern. No, Dortmund, yes. It wasn't that interesting, really, for me. They scored a free kick past, 70th minute, and then that's about it, really. Inter defensively, Dortmund really couldn't do anything at all, really. Dortmund hasn't done that well since their last time they made it to the finals against Real Madrid. Barca versus Copenhagen. Copenhagen were actually winning this in the first half. And then Barca woke up where they actually said, oh, let's try to score it. They scored. I don't know what else to say. Why am I confusing? Barca's attack, good. Defense is struggling for them. They got to focus on that defense. Get somebody else, really. Or lower down the high line or something. I don't know. Do something for your defense because attack's great. Defense is where you're struggling for Barcelona. Arsenal and Leverkusen, they just really played the worst 2 teams at all, really, in my opinion. Villarreal, really, they did nothing. The other one, I don't know how to say it. They did well against Barca. Why am I confusing them? Arsenal's B team, Gyökeres at least scored. He did something. He at least scored against the lower, not the big teams, but at least scored. That's something to be happy about. I don't know what else to say, really. I want to talk about Atletico Madrid losing to Bodo Glimt. Now, Bodo Glimt did actually very well. They won against Man City and Atletico Madrid. So they've won against 2 big giant clubs. But also, it's a little bit about Atletico Madrid. What is going on? Were they supposed to be very good, and right now they're struggling? Julian Alvarez hasn't scored a goal, really, is what I'm seeing. Now, Bodo Glimt could just be giant slayers. That's what it could be at the same time. They could be very good, but that was just one part of the game. Very fun to see smaller teams beating big clubs. In my opinion, that's very fun and interesting to see how they'll do. Now, that was just a few games. We got other games as well. We have Tottenham versus Frankfurt. Not that big, but Tottenham making it in the top 8. The way they're playing in the Prem, I'm surprised they made it top 8. They were struggling. They couldn't score no goals. Their only goal scorers are their defenders, how I see it. And maybe one striker can score a goal. Maybe once in 4 games they can score. But I'm hella surprised that they actually scored and are in the top 8. They didn't seem like they were doing very good at all. The only game that had maybe no goals at all would be Monaco versus Juve. That was the only game I think was the worst one you could have watched out of any other game. Even if the games that had really not that much chance to move anything were entertaining as well. The only one that had nothing was Monaco versus Juve. If you watch that good for you. You watch that for your teams or for different reasons, but not the best one to choose out of all the other teams or games you could have played or chosen that were very good in my opinion. That were all interesting and fun. And then we have the game that was very crazy and which was also made kind of shocking that Sporting made in the top 8. Athletic Club, I don't know what's going on with them. Aren't they supposed to be like a very good team? They're in the top 5 of La Liga, but they're struggling right now. They've done barely anything, really, in my opinion. Sporting did very good that they made in the top 8, so they don't have to go through playoffs. They just have to wait and see who they face. So very good for Sporting. And they lost their best player and their head coach halfway through the season or beginning of the season as well. And then it's the best game of that day, honestly. Benfica versus Real Madrid. The game where you thought, oh, Madrid just have to win it, tie it, just don't got to lose it at all, and they make top 8. But they lose that. Mbappe did everything he could. Defense struggling like always, maybe even worse than before. But for Benfica, did very good. They should have at least won this more than 4 goals. They were attacking so good, in my opinion. They missed one open shot. That header that should have been a goal. I thought it was a goal at first. But no, it was very close to the end. But I do got to say, Benfica did very good. A goalie goal to send them in the top 16. They make it to the next round. As before, they were losing. I was going to say Monaco. Is it Monaco? No. Marseille were going to make it before them. But because of the goal from the goalie, they move on. And it was the craziest game. 2 red cards on Madrid. So now that's going to happen as well. Very entertaining game. That's why there's a lot of games, in my opinion, some of the best we see in the whole Champions League is the last 8. So much chaos happens. Now it's time for the big ones to see who in the round of 16 plays the top 8. Now this is very interesting because you have some big teams here. Monaco, PSG, winner could play Barca or Chelsea or Newcastle. That's a big one there. Juve, Galatasaray, Liverpool, or Spurs. I would say Spurs is the one you want to face there, really. And then you have Atletico Madrid versus Club Brugge. This could be a shocker. Club Brugge could end up winning against Atletico Madrid because they're struggling right now. And then the big game that everyone wants to see, rematch, 2 legs. Madrid versus Benfica. That's a good game right there. Could Benfica do it again and end Madrid early? Now, that's a little bit on the shocker side. They could also face Man City. Madrid versus Man City again. Another big game as well because both teams don't have the best defense. Could just be a shootout of goals. Who scores the most goals and who ends up the least. And Bodo Glimt. Could they take out Inter? Now that's another one. They could take out Inter and could face Man City again or Sporting. That's a good one there. And then we have the 2 first and second team place facing to see who they face. Whoa, I'm getting confused there. Dortmund or Atalanta. Yeah, Atalanta is who they face. I could see Atalanta winning because Dortmund have not been doing well at all, really, this whole Champions League. They haven't done the best, really. And then you have, I forgot the name of that one, honestly, but it's not Copenhagen. I forgot it, honestly. Sorry, I forgot the name of it. We have Bayern Leverkusen versus, we have Olympiacos. That could be a good game. I still say Leverkusen wins. But that's going to be who they place. Are they going to face Bayern or Arsenal there? Now, this is where the interesting part gets for the whole Champions League. This is where everything happens. 2 legs. Which team will do better? 1 game. Second game, who will end up winning? Very interesting parts now. We have to wait and see for this part.